I am a nasty woman. I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust. Yeah, I'm a nasty woman. A loud, vulgar, proud woman.
Feminism is everyone being treated equal, doesn't matter what background or what gender.
I think feminism is equality for women from all backgrounds, all ethnicities and genders, and I think it's important that feminism should be universal for different, not just for women, for men as well, to learn about it and to be a part of it.
Feminism to me is the belief that men and women should be equal in the opportunities they are given throughout the world.
Cupcakes, anyone?
Cupcakes? Hey, right on time. Joe, these are smoking. Why do you make stuff like this?
Why don't you?
Because I have a penis?
To me, feminism is the equality of both genders. So equal wages, equal opportunities, equal rights. Personally, what I have problems with is the fact that I'm expected to have less pay because of my gender, and the fact that men are more likely to be in positions of power. Coming out of my degree, that kind of really hit home, as me and my friends are looking for jobs and their boyfriends are getting bigger wages for exactly the same job.
Nasty, like the fight to close the wage gap. Nasty, like conversations trying to convince people there is such thing as a wage gap. Remind me. This is only because women usually go into lower paying fields. So why did last year's top actresses make less than half of what the top actors did? Do you realize that the World Cup shelf of the U.S. men's soccer team is as empty as Trump's promises, but the women's team has scored 3 World Cups? Last year, brought in $20 million more in revenue than the men's team, but is still paid 75% less. See, even when women go into high-paying careers, their wages are still cut with blades sharpened by testosterone. Tell me why the work of a black woman and a Hispanic woman is only worth 63% and 54% of a white man's paycheck. This is not just a feminist myth. This is inequality.
I'm from a Somali background where I've come across people who believe that it's the woman's place is in the house and cleaning and stuff, which I totally disagree with.
I also had friends that didn't want to be associated with the idea of feminism. They rejected the idea completely because they felt they would be victimized by being a feminist. They kind of ended up being, I will listen to my boyfriend, I will do, the man's in charge of the household. And that didn't sit right either.
Funny.
What's funny?
Well, whenever we cook inside, Mom always does the cooking. But whenever we cook outside, you always do it. How come?
Well, it's sort of traditional, I guess. You know, they say a woman's place is in the home, and I suppose as long as she's in the home, she might as well be in the kitchen.
Oh. Well, that explains about Mom. But how come you always do the outside cooking?
Well, I'll tell you, son. Women do all right when they have all the modern conveniences. But us men are better at this rugged type of outdoor cooking. Sort of a throwback to caveman days. Hand me those asbestos gloves, will you, Molly?
I think there are a lot of people out there who are too afraid they're too scared to educate themselves on it, and there are men out there who won't even bother looking into it because their masculinity is too fragile.
I think it's dismissive and it's a stigma because people don't really like talking about it unless they seem to think that it's a personal attack on men for some reason. I think it's important that in schools and in education people learn more about feminism and much more open-minded, because I think a lot of young men and boys just seem to think that it's something that it's a thing that women do because they hate men or something. It's men kind of thing.
In terms of men, I think it is social beliefs from years gone by, really outdated beliefs that because men are a certain way, they were traditionally the breadwinners. They feel that they have a power over women, and they don't think that it's right, that they don't want their power to be diminished. They want to be in control. It's a power game.
I think that putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing. I don't want to sound too much like a chauvinist, but when I come home and dinner's not ready, I go through the roof, okay?
A lot of those traditions of misogyny that we think of as associated with trolling go right back to the Greeks and Romans. It's misogyny that, in which we kind of hope, and this is what misogyny I think comes down to, that women didn't need to exist.
Anti-feminist feelings have been around since basically forever. My degree was in ancient history, and one of my topics was women, and I found that in Greece you had a very split belief system, same as lots of the other ancient cultures, where you had the Roman ideal and the Athenian ideal, which we tend to take democracy from, that were very anti-women. But you had places like Sparta and the Celts, where women not only could inherit, they controlled lots of the household stuff, they could rule, they could divorce their own husbands, and they had the right to do that. Sparta, the female line was the line that money followed, because the men were expected to not be around. They also trained in weaponry, so they could protect the household even though their men were away, and that was expected. The Celts, you had Boudicca, who led a revolt because of the treatment of women that Rome took part in. There was the fact that the Roman soldiers attacked her daughters, and that's where it stems from. So the revolt within Britain was due to the abuse of women's rights. And that leads right forward. You then have the medieval and the Norman incursion into Britain, where women lost a lot of rights. We had Welsh law, where women could own a business in their own right even though they were married. They could divorce their husbands. All these rights were kind of slowly drained away, to the point that women were seen as a second-class citizen. And that continued right through to the suffragettes, where they fought for the vote. They fought for the rights of women to do what they want with themselves. Even though that at the time it was the vote, it kind of made way for the rest to come forward.
I think the feminist stigma has come from social media.
From social media.
I think a lot of it is to do with the media.
Right, man. Where are all the feminists in those situations? You know what I mean? You can't find them. There are no feminists in a house fire. That's a guarantee.
We see people who go on social media and read stuff like there's a grown man just talking a load of rubbish online, and people will look into it and believe him without double checking or stuff like that. Yeah.
I think there's definitely a stigma with women trying to get equality and people not seeing it as an attack on men and on society.
Because back in the days it was very poorly representative of what a family life should be like. A lot of sitcoms, it's the stay-at-home mother with the father going off to make money, and it didn't really show any way of the women actually doing something, which now it's just come to a shock to the men who've consumed this media and don't actually expect women to do anything for themselves. It's sad, but I think that's where it's come from.
It would be nice to form a collective goal and to achieve that goal, but there's so many different kind of feminists and they all want different things and they want to achieve their goals in different ways. So I think it'd be, I wouldn't say impossible, but it would be hard.
I definitely think that there needs to be a goal of working together, because there's a lot of I think there is a lot of feminism that isn't included with everyone, especially when it comes to gender identity, such as LGBTs such as trans women, and I think to do with women of colour as well. I think there needs to be more done in coming together and not just one section of feminism.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of men, and this is true with politics also, they pick out a select group of people to represent the majority. So radical feminists, some may use those as a case to say why feminism on the whole isn't a good idea. But it's just those few ruining it for all the people who are actually out there trying to make a change, trying to give women equal chances. Yeah.
To do with the many forms of feminism at the moment, I think what we need to do is think about which parts that we need to fight on first. We can't just fight for an ideal situation. We've got to take each fight and concentrate on that until we get that and just keep trying. Because I think if we try to fight for too much too soon, it just becomes, are they radicals? They don't deserve to be shown in the media. They don't deserve to have this fight shown. I think if we concentrate on the one small thing and that leads into something bigger. So it's taking the idea that women need this right and they should have this. If we fight for that, it means the groups become one and they kind of mold together, which makes a united front. Because there's too many separations within feminism as well as the outside world. And it's getting as many people can answer that as possible. I also think that we need to acknowledge that men can be feminism. Men can be feminists as well. People are too quick to say women are feminists, but I've got experience of a lot of my male friends being feminists and a lot more outspoken on it than the women that I know. I've got a friend he was raised by a single mother, and he is more feminist than lots of my friends. And it's because he said, well, my mother looked after me, my mother done all this, but yet she isn't treated equally to me. And that kind of hit home for him.
But I'm not afraid to be honest.